Hana pressed her back against the cold metal wall and tried to make herself small. It was not easy. She was tall, even for a draconi, and her wings made her twice as wide as any human. The scales on her arms gleamed in the dim light of the lower district. She pulled her tattered cloak tighter, hoping no one would notice her. The market section of Nexus Station was busy today. Humans rushed past, carrying boxes and bags. They did not look at her. That was good. When humans looked at her, they usually called security. Draconi were not welcome here. Not anymore. Her stomach hurt. She had not eaten in 3 days. The credits she earned from cleaning waste ducts were gone. She spent them on a small packet of protein paste 2 days ago. It tasted terrible, but it kept her alive. Hana moved along the wall, staying in the shadows. The food stalls filled the air with smells that made her mouth water. Grilled meat, fresh bread, spiced vegetables, things she could not afford, things she would never afford again. She used to have money. She used to have a home. Back on her world before the war came, before the Vral swept through Draconi space and burned everything. She escaped with nothing but the clothes on her back and her mother's old cloak. That was 8 months ago. 8 months of running, 8 months of hiding, 8 months of hunger. A human child ran past her, laughing. His mother called after him. The boy had bread in his hand, taking big bites as he ran. Hana watched them. Her chest felt tight. She remembered being young like that. She remembered when food was easy to find, when life was simple. She turned away and kept walking. The maintenance tunnels were ahead. Sometimes workers left half-eaten meals near the access ports. She was not proud of eating garbage, but pride did not fill an empty stomach. The explosion hit without warning. One moment, Hana was walking. The next moment, the world turned into fire and noise. The blast threw her against the wall. Her head cracked against the metal. Everything went white. Her ears rang so loud she could not hear anything else. She fell to her knees. Blood ran down her forehead. She could not think, could not understand what happened. Then the screaming started. Hana looked up. The market section was on fire. Flames shot from a broken fuel line, spreading fast. Black smoke filled the air. People ran in every direction, pushing and shoving. A woman fell. Others trampled over her in their panic. Hana tried to stand. Her legs shook. The explosion had hurt her more than she realized, but she got up anyway. She had to move, had to get away from the fire. Fire was the worst thing for a draconi. Their scales could handle many things, but intense heat made them crack and peel. Fire was pain. Fire was death. She took one step toward the exit tunnel. Then she heard it. A child crying. Hana stopped. The sound was faint under all the screaming and the roar of flames, but she heard it. High and scared. Coming from inside the fire. She looked at the burning market section. The flames were spreading fast. In minutes, this whole area would be an inferno. Anyone still inside would die. It was not her problem. She did not know these humans. They did not care about her. They would not save her if she was trapped in there. The child cried again. Hana closed her eyes. She thought of her own mother, how her mother had held her when she was scared, how her mother had died protecting her from the Vral soldiers. She opened her eyes and ran toward the fire. The heat hit her like a wall. Her scales began to ache immediately. The smoke burned her lungs. She could barely see. Everything was orange and black and full of pain. "Hello?" she called out. Her voice was rough. "Where are you?" The crying was louder now, somewhere to her left, behind a collapsed merchant stall. Hana pushed through burning debris. Her cloak caught fire. She tore it off and kept moving. The heat was terrible. She felt her scales beginning to crack, but she kept going. There, behind a pile of twisted metal and broken crates, a small hand reaching out. Hana grabbed the metal beam blocking the way. It was hot, so hot it felt like ice. Her hands screamed in pain, but she lifted it anyway, her muscles strained. Her wings spread wide for balance. The beam moved. The child was there. A human boy, maybe 5 or 6 years old. His face was black with soot. Tears ran down his cheeks. A heavy piece of ceiling had fallen on his leg. He could not move. "Please," the boy whispered. "Please help me." Hana knelt beside him. The heat was unbearable now. Her vision was starting to blur. She grabbed the piece of ceiling, pinning him down. It was heavy, very heavy. She pulled. Nothing happened. She pulled harder. Her muscles burned. Her scales cracked with loud snaps. Blood ran down her arms. The ceiling piece moved. The boy crawled free. He tried to stand but fell. His leg was hurt. Hana picked him up. He was so small, so light. She held him against her chest and turned back toward the exit. But the fire had spread. The path she came through was gone now. Nothing but flames. She looked around frantically. There had to be another way. There had to be. There. A small gap in the wall. A maintenance shaft. It was narrow. Too narrow for her wings. But maybe if she folded them tight... She ran for it. The boy clung to her neck. She could feel him shaking. The gap was barely wide enough. She pushed through, feeling her wings scrape against the metal edges. Something tore. Pain shot through her back, but she kept moving. The shaft was dark and hot. She crawled forward on her knees, holding the boy with one arm. Her other hand felt along the floor, looking for the way out. The boy coughed. The smoke was getting worse. "Stay awake," Hana said. "Please, stay awake." Her hand found open air, an exit. She pulled them both through. They fell onto the station floor in a different corridor. The air here was clearer, cooler. Hana rolled onto her back, still holding the boy. She could not breathe. Everything hurt. She looked down at her arms. The scales were blackened and cracked. Some had fallen off completely. She could see the raw flesh underneath. The boy was coughing but breathing. He was alive. Hana smiled. Then everything went dark. The boy opened his eyes slowly. Everything hurt, but he was alive. He tried to remember what happened. The fire, the explosion, being trapped. Then the dragon lady came. He sat up carefully. His leg throbbed with pain, but he could move it. He looked around. They were in a corridor he did not recognize. Emergency lights cast red shadows on the walls. The air smelled like smoke. Then he saw her. The dragon lady lay on her back a few feet away. She was not moving. Her arms were black and red, covered in burns. Pieces of her scales had fallen off and lay scattered on the floor around her. Her breathing was shallow and quick. "Miss Dragon," the boy whispered. She did not respond. The boy crawled over to her. His leg hurt badly, but he had to check on her. She saved him. She went into the fire to save him. "Miss Dragon, please wake up," he said louder. Still nothing. The boy looked at her face. She was young, he realized. Maybe not much older than his big sister. Her scales were supposed to be blue, he thought, but now they were mostly black from the burns. Smoke had made dark marks on her face. He remembered his father's lessons. When someone is hurt, you have to get help. You have to stay calm. You have to be smart. But the boy was 6 years old. He was scared and alone. His father was far away on a ship. His mother was gone. He only had the nanny, and she was probably looking for him. The boy tried to think. The dragon lady needed help. She needed a doctor. But doctors cost money, and she looked very poor. Her clothes were old and torn. She had no shoes. The station security would not help her. Everyone knew that. Security did not help refugees. They would probably arrest her for being in the human section. The boy made a decision. He would stay with her. He would not leave her alone. He took off his jacket and covered her burned arms with it. It was not much, but it was something. Then he sat down beside her and held her hand. Her skin felt rough and hot. "I will stay with you," he said quietly. "You saved me. I will not leave you." Time passed slowly. The boy did not know how long. His throat was dry, his leg hurt, but he did not move. Other refugees started to appear in the corridor. They were fleeing from the fire. Draconi, Kelterons, Mishra, and others. The ones that humans did not want in the main sections. They ran past without stopping. Some glanced at the burned dragon lady and the human boy, but no one stopped to help. One old Kelteron male paused. He looked at Hana with sad eyes. "She is dying," he said to the boy. "Dragon people cannot survive burns like that. You should leave her." "No," the boy said firmly. "She saved me." The old Kelteron shook his head and kept walking. More time passed. The corridor grew more crowded as more refugees ran from the spreading fire. Station alarms began to wail, emergency systems activated, foam sprayed from ceiling nozzles in the distance, fighting the flames. The boy felt Hana's hand grow colder, her breathing became weaker. Fear filled his chest. She was dying. The old alien was right. "Please do not die," the boy whispered. "Please, you saved me. You are a good person." Hana's eyes opened slightly. They were yellow like gold. They focused on him with difficulty. "Boy," she breathed. "You okay?" "Yes," the boy said quickly. "You saved me. You got me out." "Good," Hana whispered. A small smile crossed her burned face. "Run now, not safe here." "I will not leave you." "Must. Fire spreading, go." "No," the boy said stubbornly. "My father says we never leave people who help us. Never. You helped me. I stay with you." Hana tried to argue but could not find the strength. Her eyes closed again. The boy held her hand tighter. He was crying now but did not care. This was not fair. She was good. She was brave. She should not die. "My name is Taiho," he said to her, even though she might not hear. "My father is Admiral Do-hyun. He is on a ship far away, but he will come. When he finds out about the fire, he will come. And when he comes, I will tell him you saved me. I will tell him you are a hero. He will help you. Please just wait." But Hana did not respond. The corridor began to fill with smoke. The fire was getting closer. Taiho could hear it now, roaring like a monster. The heat was rising. They had to move, but Hana was too big. Taiho was too small. He could not carry her. He stood up and tried anyway. He grabbed her arm and pulled. She did not budge. He pulled harder. Nothing. "Please," he cried. "Please, you have to get up. We have to go." Station security finally arrived. 3 officers in protective gear ran into the corridor, evacuating refugees. "Everyone out!" one officer shouted. "This section is being sealed! Help!" Taiho yelled at them. "Please help her!" One officer saw them and started over. He looked at Hana, and his face went cold. "Step away from the Draconi, boy," the officer said. "No, she saved me from the fire. She needs a doctor." "That is not our concern. All Draconi are restricted to Zone 7. She should not be here. Now move." "But she is dying." "I said move." The officer reached for Taiho. Taiho kicked him hard in the shin. The officer yelped and stumbled back. "She saved me!" Taiho screamed. "She is good! You have to help her!" The other 2 officers came over. One grabbed Taiho and picked him up. Taiho fought and kicked and screamed. "Let me go! You have to save her, please!" "Take the kid to medical," the first officer said, rubbing his shin. "Leave the Draconi. We are sealing this section in 2 minutes." "No," Taiho struggled. "You cannot leave her. Please." But they carried him away. He watched over the officer's shoulder as Hana lay motionless in the corridor. The smoke was getting thicker. The fire was coming. "I am sorry," Taiho sobbed. "I am so sorry." The officers brought him to the main medical bay. Nurses and doctors rushed around, treating people hurt in the explosion. They put Taiho on a bed and examined his leg. A broken bone, they said. Not serious. They gave him medicine for the pain. But Taiho could not stop thinking about Hana. She was still back there. They left her to die. A nurse tried to give him water. He pushed it away. "The dragon lady who saved me," he said. "Where is she?" "I do not know about any dragon lady, sweetie," the nurse said kindly. "She saved me from the fire. She got burned. Security left her there. You have to send someone." The nurse looked uncomfortable. "I will see what I can do." But Tai-Ho knew she was lying. No one would help a refugee Draconi. No one cared. He lay back on the bed and closed his eyes. Tears ran down his cheeks. She saved his life, and he could not save hers. It was not fair. Nothing was fair. Then the alarms changed. A different sound. Not a fire alarm. A docking alert. A big ship was coming in. A military ship. The nurse looked at her tablet and her eyes went wide. "Oh my God," she whispered. "That is the Indomitable, Admiral Do-hyun's flagship." Tai-Ho's eyes snapped open. His father was here. Admiral Do-hyun stood on the bridge of the Indomitable and watched Nexus Station grow larger on the view screen. His hands were clasped behind his back, but they were shaking. He hoped his crew could not see. The message had reached him 2 hours ago. Explosion on Nexus Station. Multiple casualties. His son was on that station. Do-hyun left the patrol route immediately. He pushed the Indomitable to maximum speed, ignoring all regulations. His second officer warned him about engine stress. Do-hyun did not care. His son was in danger. Tai-Ho was only 6 years old. He was small and gentle and loved to draw pictures of spaceships. Do-hyun had left him with a trusted nanny while he was on patrol. The station was supposed to be safe. It was supposed to be protected. "Sir, we are receiving docking clearance," the communications officer said. "Take us in," Do-hyun ordered. "Fast as possible." The massive warship slid into the docking bay with unusual speed. Before the clamps even locked, Do-hyun was moving. He ran from the bridge, his boots hammering on the metal floors. His security team struggled to keep up. "Admiral, you should wait for the full escort," Captain Minji called after him. Do-hyun ignored her. The airlock opened. Do-hyun burst through into the station. Station security officers were waiting, along with the station commander. "Admiral Do-hyun," the commander began. "We were not expecting—" "Where is my son?" Do-hyun demanded. "He is in Medical Bay 3. He is safe, sir. Just a broken leg and some smoke inhalation." Relief flooded through Do-hyun so strongly that his knees almost gave out. Safe. Tai-Ho was safe. "Take me to him." The station commander led the way. Do-hyun followed, forcing himself to walk instead of run. Officers and civilians stopped and stared as the legendary admiral passed. Do-hyun did not see them. He only thought of Tai-Ho. The medical bay was chaos. Dozens of injured people filled the beds. Doctors and nurses rushed between them. The smell of burns and medicine filled the air. Then Do-hyun saw him. Tai-Ho was sitting on a bed near the back, his leg in a cast. His face was dirty with soot, but he was alive. "Tai-Ho," Do-hyun said. The boy looked up, his eyes filled with tears. "Papa." Do-hyun crossed the room in 3 steps and pulled his son into his arms. He held him tight, feeling the small body shake with sobs. Do-hyun's eyes burned. He never cried. Not in 40 years of military service. But now, holding his son, he felt tears on his cheeks. "I am here," Do-hyun said quietly. "You are safe now." "Papa, you have to help her," Tai-Ho said urgently, pulling back. "Please, you have to." "Help who?" "The dragon lady. She saved me from the fire. She got burned really bad. Security left her to die. Papa, you have to save her. Please." Do-hyun looked at the station commander. "What is he talking about?" The commander looked uncomfortable. "There was a Draconi refugee in the area. Our officers found your son with her. The Draconi was severely burned and—" "Where is she now?" Do-hyun's voice was cold. "Admiral, the Draconi was in a restricted zone. We had to seal that section because of the fire. Our resources were focused on saving citizens and you left her to die. Sir, we had to prioritize. We cannot save every refugee on this station. Our duty is to the registered residents. Do-hyun stood up slowly. He was not a tall man, but he had a presence that made people step back. The station commander took a step backward. This refugee saved my son's life, Do-hyun said quietly. Every word was like ice. She went into a fire to pull him out. She was burned protecting him. And you left her to die. Admiral, I understand your feelings, but which section? I am sorry? Which section did you seal? Where is she? Section E-17, but sir, that section is completely compromised. The fire spread through. Do-hyun was already moving. He grabbed the emergency kit from the wall and headed for the door. Sir! Captain Minji blocked his path. You cannot go in there. The section is filled with smoke and fire. It is suicide. Move, Captain. Admiral, think about your son. He needs you. My son needs me to be the kind of man who does not abandon people who save his family. Move. Minji looked at him for a long moment. Then she stepped aside. Do-hyun ran. Section E-17 was 3 corridors away. Smoke filled the hallways leading to it. The sealed door was marked with warning lights. Station security tried to stop him. They did not try very hard. Everyone knew Admiral Do-hyun. No one wanted to physically fight the man who broke the Vral's siege at Karlon 6. Do-hyun reached the sealed door and entered the override code. His military clearance opened everything. Sir, you will die in there, a security officer warned. Then I will die, Do-hyun said. He pulled on a breathing mask and opened the door. The heat hit him immediately. The corridor beyond was filled with thick black smoke. He could barely see 2 feet ahead, but he went in anyway. Hello, he shouted. Anyone here? Call out. No response, just the roar of distant flames. Do-hyun moved forward, one hand on the wall to guide him. The heat was intense even through his uniform. He could not imagine what it felt like for someone caught in the actual flames. He found bodies, 3 refugees who did not make it out. Do-hyun checked each one. Not Draconi. He kept searching. The smoke was getting worse. His eyes burned despite the mask. He could feel his skin starting to hurt from the heat. Then he saw her. The Draconi lay in the middle of the corridor. She was on her back, not moving. Her scales were black with burns. Parts of them had fallen off. Her arms looked terrible, raw and red. She looked dead. Do-hyun knelt beside her and checked for a pulse. It was there, but weak, very weak. She was alive. Do-hyun did not hesitate. He picked her up. She was taller than him, and her wings made her awkward to carry, but he managed. She weighed less than he expected. Probably had not eaten properly in a long time. He turned and headed back toward the door. The smoke was thicker now. The fire had spread. He could see flames through the haze getting closer. His arms burned with the effort of carrying her. His lungs ached from the smoke getting through his mask. But he kept moving. The door was ahead, still open. Thank God. He stumbled through it. Station security officers rushed forward. Medical team, Do-hyun barked. Now! They laid the Draconi on the floor. A doctor came running with equipment. She is barely alive, the doctor said, checking her vital signs. I do not know if we can save her, and sir, our medical supplies are limited. The explosion injured a lot of people. I have to prioritize. She saved my son, Do-hyun said. His voice was rough from the smoke. You will use whatever resources necessary to save her. That is an order. Admiral, I do not take orders from... Do-hyun looked at him. Just looked. The doctor swallowed his words. Yes, sir. We will do everything we can. They put the Draconi on a stretcher and rushed her to the medical bay. Do-hyun followed, coughing from the smoke. His uniform was black with soot. His face was red from the heat. But he did not care. In the medical bay, Taiho was still on his bed. When he saw them bring in Hana, he started crying again. "You found her! Papa, you found her!" "I found her," Do-yun confirmed. He sat down beside his son, suddenly exhausted. They watched as the medical team worked on Hana. Machines beeped. Doctors called out orders. Nurses ran back and forth with supplies. "Is she going to be okay?" Taiho asked quietly. "I do not know," Do-yun said honestly. "But they are trying, and she is strong. Anyone who runs into a fire to save a child is very strong. She is a good person, Papa." "Yes, yes she is." Hours passed. Do-yun and Taiho waited. The Admiral refused to leave. He sent messages to his ship, giving orders to his second officer. But he stayed with his son, watching the doctors work on the Draconi who saved him. Finally, one of the doctors came over. "She is stable," the doctor said. "It was very close. Another hour and she would have died. But she is stable now." "Will she recover?" Do-yun asked. "I do not know. The burns are severe. Draconi healing is different from humans. We are doing what we can, but I cannot make promises." Do-yun nodded. "Thank you." The doctor left. Do-yun looked at his son. "She is alive, Papa," Taiho said, smiling through his tears. "You saved her." "She saved you first," Do-yun replied. "I just returned the favor." Hana woke slowly. Pain was the first thing she felt. It covered her entire body like a blanket of fire. Her arms hurt the most. They felt raw and heavy. She tried to open her eyes. The light was too bright. She closed them again and groaned. "She is waking up," a voice said, a young voice, familiar. "Let me see." A different voice, older, calm. Footsteps approached. Hana felt someone touch her hand gently. "Can you hear me?" the older voice asked. Hana opened her eyes again, more slowly this time. The light was still bright, but she could handle it now. She blinked several times until her vision cleared. She was in a bed, a real bed with clean white sheets. The room was large and filled with medical equipment. This was not a refugee clinic. This was a proper medical bay. A human man stood beside her bed. He was maybe 40 years old with short black hair and tired eyes. He wore a military uniform with many badges, an officer, a high-ranking one. Beside him stood the boy, Taiho, the one she saved from the fire. He was smiling at her, his eyes bright with happiness. "You are awake," Taiho said. "I knew you would be okay." Hana tried to speak. Her throat was dry. Nothing came out. The officer held a cup of water to her lips. "Small sips," he said. Hana drank. The water was cold and wonderful. After a moment, she found her voice. Where am I?" "You are in the medical bay of the Indomitable," the officer said. "My ship. I am Admiral Do-hyun. This is my son Taiho." Hana looked at the boy. Your father?" "Yes," Taiho said proudly. "I told you he would come. I told you he would help." Memories started to come back. The fire, saving the boy, the burns, lying in the corridor waiting to die. Then nothing. "You saved me," Hana whispered. "You saved my son first," Admiral Do-hyun said. "I simply returned the favor." Hana tried to sit up. Pain shot through her arms. She gasped and fell back. "Do not move," the Admiral said firmly. "Your burns are severe. You have been unconscious for 3 days. The doctors say you need rest." 3 days. Hana stared at her arms. They were covered in bandages. She could see some of her scales through the gaps. They were a strange color, lighter than before. Some were missing entirely. "My scales," she said quietly. "They will grow back," a new voice said. A female doctor entered the room. "Draconi scales regenerate, but it takes time. Several months, probably. In the meantime, you need to stay in bed and let the burns heal." Several months. Hana's chest felt tight. She could not afford several months of medical care. She had no money, no insurance. They would kick her out as soon as they realized. "I cannot pay," Hana said. "I have no credits. I am sorry, I will leave." She tried to get up again. The Admiral put a gentle hand on her shoulder. "You will do no such thing," he said. "You saved my son's life. Medical care is the least I can offer in return." "But—" "There are no buts in this situation," Admiral Do-yoon said. His voice was kind but firm. "You risked your life for a child you did not know. You suffered terrible injuries. And now you will receive the best medical care available. That is final." Hana did not know what to say. She stared at the Admiral, trying to understand. Humans did not help refugees. Humans did not care about Draconi. Why was he being kind? Taiho moved closer to the bed. "You are a hero," he said simply. "Papa says humans always honor heroes." "The boy is correct," Admiral Do-hyun said. "In human culture, we have a concept. When someone saves your life, you owe them a debt. Not just a favor. A real debt that must be repaid. You saved my son. You saved the most important thing in my world. Whatever you need, whatever I can provide, it is yours." Tears filled Hana's eyes. She had not cried in months. She learned to be tough, to be hard. But this kindness broke something inside her. "Thank you," she whispered. Over the next few days, Hana learned more about Admiral Do-hyun. The doctors and nurses talked about him constantly. He was famous, a war hero. He commanded the fleet that broke the Vral siege at Karlon 6. Millions of humans were alive because of him. And now this famous man visited her every day. He brought Taiho with him. They would sit by her bed and talk with her. Taiho told her about his drawings. He loved spaceships and wanted to be a pilot someday. He talked about his mother who died when he was very young. He asked Hana about her world, about Draconi culture, about her life before the war. Hana found herself talking about things she never told anyone. About her mother who died in the war. About her home that was destroyed. About running and hiding and being hungry. "That is terrible," Taiho said, his eyes wide. "You should not have to live like that." "Many refugees live like that," Hana said. "The war made us homeless. No one wants us." "Papa wants you," Taiho said confidently. "Right, Papa?" Admiral Do-hyun had been listening quietly. Now he looked at Hana with serious eyes. "Taiho is right. I have been thinking about your situation. When you are healed, you will need somewhere to go. The refugee zones on Nexus Station are not safe. I have seen the reports." "I know," Hana said quietly, "but I have nowhere else." "What if I offered you a place?" the Admiral asked. "A real home, with food and safety." Hana stared at him. I do not understand." "My family has a house on Avalon Colony," Admiral Do-hyun explained. "It is a big house, too big for just me and Taiho. We have empty rooms, and Taiho needs someone to watch him when I am on deployment. The nanny I hired, she was supposed to keep him safe. She failed. She ran from the fire and left him behind." Hana remembered. No one came to help when the boy was trapped. She was alone. "I fired her," the Admiral continued. "I need someone better, someone I can trust, someone who would run into a fire to save him, not away from it. I am offering you a job, Hana. Live with us. Watch over Taiho when I am gone. In return, you get a home, food, and a salary." Hana could not breathe. A home, a real home, safety, food. It was too much to believe. "Why?" she asked. "Why would you do this?" "Because you saved my son," Admiral Do-hyun said simply. "Because you are brave and good. Because you deserve better than scraping for food in refugee zones. And because I trust you. I have seen many people in my life. I know character when I see it. But I am Draconi. Many humans do not like us." "Many humans are fools," the Admiral said bluntly. "I am not one of them. I care about actions, not species. You acted with courage and selflessness. That is all I need to know. Taiho grabbed Hana's hand. Please say yes. I want you to stay with us. You are nice. And you are brave. And I like you. Hana looked at the boy's hopeful face, then at the Admiral's sincere eyes. They were offering her something she thought she would never have again, a family, a place to belong. Yes, she whispered. Yes, I will stay with you. Taiho cheered. Admiral Doyun smiled, a rare expression that made him look younger. Good, he said. Then it is settled. When you are healed, you will come home with us. That night, lying in her comfortable bed on the warship, Hana cried. But this time, they were tears of happiness. For the first time in 8 months, she felt hope. She thought about the fire, about the pain and fear, about the moment she heard Taiho crying and made the choice to run toward danger instead of away. If someone had told her that choice would change her life, she would not have believed it. But here she was, safe, cared for, with a future. Sometimes, she realized, the hardest choices lead to the best outcomes. Sometimes, running into the fire is exactly what you need to do. 6 weeks later, Hana stood on the landing platform of Avalon Colony and looked at her new home. The house was larger than she expected. It was made of white stone with big windows and a garden in front. Trees surrounded it, their leaves moving in the gentle breeze. What do you think? Admiral Do-hyun asked. He stood beside her, carrying Taiho's bags. It is beautiful, Hana said honestly. Her arms still hurt sometimes, but the bandages were gone now. New scales were growing in, pale and soft. The doctor said they would darken with time. Come on! Taiho grabbed her hand and pulled her toward the door. His leg had healed quickly. He ran everywhere now, full of energy. Inside, the house was warm and comfortable. The furniture looked expensive, but lived in. Pictures covered the walls. Most showed a younger Admiral Do-hyun with a beautiful woman. His late wife, Hana realized, Taiho's mother. Your room is upstairs, the Admiral said, leading her up. Second door on the left. The room took Hana's breath away. It had a large bed with blue blankets, a desk, a closet, big windows that showed the garden. It was bigger than any place she had lived since leaving her home world. Is this all mine? She asked. All yours, Admiral Do-hyun confirmed. I had them install a special perch for your wings by the window. Draconi prefer to sleep partially upright, correct? Hana stared at the perch. It was perfect, exactly the right height and width. You researched my species? Of course. I needed to make sure the house was comfortable for you. He paused. I also stocked the kitchen with foods that Draconi can eat. I know your dietary needs are different from humans. If I missed anything, please tell me. Hana felt tears forming. She blinked them away. Thank you. Thank you so much. The Admiral looked uncomfortable with her gratitude. It is the least I could do. Now let me show you the rest of the house. The tour took a while. The house had many rooms, a kitchen, a living room with comfortable chairs, a study filled with books, a playroom for Taiho, and something else, something unexpected. This is the training room, Admiral Do-hyun said, opening a door on the ground floor. The room was large and empty except for mats on the floor and weapons on the walls. Training weapons, Hana realized, not real ones. I noticed you have some combat training, the Admiral said. The way you moved during the fire, the way you lifted that heavy debris. You have been trained to fight. Hana nodded slowly. My mother taught me. All Draconi learn basic combat, in case of war. Would you like to continue training? Yes, I would. Good. I train here every morning before work. You are welcome to join me. He smiled slightly. It would be nice to have a sparring partner who can actually challenge me. Over the following weeks, Hana settled into her new life. Every morning she woke early and trained with the Admiral. He was good, very good. But Hana was faster, and her draconi strength gave her an advantage. They pushed each other, trading wins and losses. After training, Hana would shower and change, then wake Taiho for breakfast. The boy was not a morning person. He would grumble and hide under his blankets. Hana would gently pull them off and tickle him until he laughed and got up. They would eat breakfast together. Hana learned to cook human food. Taiho learned to try draconi dishes. Some he liked, some he did not. Then Hana would walk Taiho to school. The first few days, other parents stared at her. A draconi walking a human child to school. It was unusual. Some parents whispered. Some pulled their children away, but Taiho did not care. He held Hana's hand proudly and introduced her to his friends. "This is Hana," he would say. "She lives with me and Papa. She saved me from a fire. She is a hero." The children thought that was amazing. They asked Hana questions about the fire, about being a draconi, about her scales and wings. Hana answered patiently. Soon the children loved her, and when the children loved her, the parents had to accept her. Afternoons were for homework and play. Hana helped Taiho with his studies, math, reading, history. She learned alongside him, filling gaps in her own education. The war had interrupted her schooling. Evenings were family time. Admiral Do-hyun would come home from work, tired but happy to see them. They would eat dinner together and talk about their days. The Admiral would tell stories about his work, keeping the details vague for security. Taiho would babble about school and his friends. Hana would share what she learned or cooked. It felt like a real family. Hana had not felt that way since before the war. One evening, 2 months after she moved in, Admiral Do-hyun called her to his study. "Sit down, Hana," he said. He looked serious. Hana sat, worried. Had she done something wrong? The Admiral pulled out papers from his desk. "I have been working on something. I wanted to wait until everything was finalized before telling you." "What is it?" "These are citizenship papers," he said. "For you. I pulled some strings, used my position and reputation. As of today, you are no longer a refugee. You are a citizen of the Human Federation." Hana stared at the papers. She could not speak. "This means you have full rights," the Admiral continued. "You can work anywhere, travel anywhere. You cannot be deported. You are protected under Federation law." He paused. "You are safe, Hana. Truly safe." Hana took the papers with shaking hands. Her name was on them. Hana of the Draconi people. Citizen. "I do not know what to say," she whispered. "You do not need to say anything. You earned this." The Admiral's expression softened. "You gave me back my son. This is just a piece of paper. It is not enough. It will never be enough. But it is a start." Hana looked up at him. "You have given me everything. A home, a family, a future. How can I ever repay you?" "You repay me every day," Admiral Do-hyun said. "Every time Taiho laughs. Every time he runs home from school excited to see you. Every time I come home and find my house filled with life and warmth. You brought light back into our lives, Hana. We needed that." That night, Hana sat in her room and held the citizenship papers. She thought about the journey that brought her here, the war, the running, the hunger and fear. The moment in the fire when she heard a child crying and chose to be brave. One choice, one moment. It changed everything. She thought about the word Admiral Do-hyun used. Family. That was what they were now. Not by blood, but by choice. By loyalty. By love. The next morning, Taiho ran into her room early. "Hana, wake up! Papa says we can go to the park today. All of us together." Hana smiled and got out of bed. "Then we should not keep him waiting." At the park, Hana watched Taiho play on the equipment. He climbed and ran and laughed. Admiral Do-hyun sat beside her on the bench. He is happy, the Admiral said quietly. I have not seen him this happy since his mother died. He is a good boy, Hana replied. He loves you, Admiral Do-hyun said. Last night he asked me if you were his big sister now. I told him that was up to you. Hana looked at the Admiral in surprise. What did you tell him? I said you were family. That was enough for him. He paused. But the question stands. How do you see yourself, Hana? As an employee, a guest, or as something more? Hana watched Tai-ho wave at her from the top of the climbing structure. She waved back, her heart full. As family, she said firmly. I see myself as family. Admiral Do-hyun smiled. Good. So do we. Later that evening, Hana stood in the garden and looked at the stars. Somewhere up there was her home world. Gone now, destroyed by war. She would never see it again. But she had a new home now, a new family. Not the one she was born into, but the one she chose. The one that chose her. She thought about the refugees still living in the zones, still hungry, still afraid. She could not save them all, but maybe she could help some. Maybe, with Admiral Do-hyun's support, she could make a difference. That was for the future, though. For now, she had a family to take care of, a boy who needed her, a home to protect. The door opened behind her. Tai-ho ran out, carrying a blanket. Hana, Papa says we can sleep in the garden tonight and watch for shooting stars. Come on! Hana turned and smiled at him. I am coming. She followed the boy back to the house where Admiral Do-hyun was setting up sleeping bags in the grass. The three of them lay down together, looking up at the infinite sky. Make a wish on the first shooting star you see, Tai-ho said. That is the rule. What will you wish for? Hana asked. I will wish that we stay together forever, Tai-ho said simply. All three of us. Like a real family. Hana felt tears on her cheeks. Happy tears. That is a good wish. What about you, Papa? Tai-ho asked. Admiral Do-hyun was quiet for a moment. I will wish for the same thing. Family. Together. What about you, Hana? Hana thought about it. About the fire. About the pain and fear and the moment she chose to be brave. About everything that came after. I already got my wish, she said softly. I am home. Above them, a star fell across the black sky, trailing light. And three voices spoke together, three different beings who became one family, watching it disappear into the darkness.